produced by the Cleveland Sound Radio Network. Here is the This Is Awesome Wrestling Show, hosted by Glenn Moore and Steve Guy.
Welcome, episode 100. This is Awesome Wrestling Show. I am Glenn Moore, here with Steve Guy.
CN, for our Spanish-speaking audience.
Yes. We are live in our Lakewood studio. There we go.
Yeah.
And
So,
by this,
that was a long applause. And
like,
they made it sound like there's a lot more people here.
yeah. We have some people here in studio here.
Sold out crowd here in Lakewood, Ohio.
I won't say sold out, but it's very hot in here. We're jammed back in the studio, so we're going to go for like an hour, maybe hour and a half. We have some guests here in studio. First time on the show, Dr. Daniel C. Rockingham is here from AIW Trading Academy. No applause for boo, no.
Just getting booed.
And then we have the most hated man
Oh, one of my favorites.
on the here on the show. This is Awesome Wrestling Show. Frankie Flynn is here.
The Prince of Broadway.
No one likes Frank. Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah.
Those are his family. His family's here in the background for that one. And also, our main event for this evening, you know him. He's on the show. He's on the show. A two-part interview with this man.
Yeah, it was. I sat next to him for it.
He is a well-decorated wrestler and very, very notable here in Northeast Ohio. You are decorated. Don't give me that look. Intense champion. You have multiple championships, right? No? See, don't be so humble.
He doesn't have the belt anymore.
Well, he's working on that.
But
Mr.
his understudy does. I guess that's what you call it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. We'll get into that later.
Gregory Iron is here.
He just gave himself a bark.
Yeah. So we've done 100 episodes here on the show. Over 100 because if you count the fraction shows that we've done leading up to this. But we wanted to celebrate 100 episodes, but we want to say thank you to a lot of people. Thank you to everybody listening here live at the studio and also listening on the podcast and just all over the world, basically, because we see the stats. We know where you guys are listening from. But also we want to thank cldsound.com for their support, for letting us broadcast from the studio here, for doing that. We also want to thank Chandler Biggins and John Thorne from AIW because they have let us, without even kind of knowing who we were, but way back last year in February, coming down, setting up in their locker room, quote-unquote, and pulling guys for interviews when we haven't done anything professional wrestling-wise or haven't paid the dues, so to speak, to be in a wrestling locker room. But they've let us come down and do interviews. We got some great interviews. I met some legends like Terry Funk and Booker T and Billy Gunn, be able to talk to them. So we want to thank Chandler, who is here in attendance in VIP section, Chandler Biggins. So thank you, Chandler.
He had his own reserved chair. Chandler Biggins was the only man here who had a reserved chair just for him.
VIP, man, VIP.
Yeah, you're right. They were just kind of idiots, and they were like, "Yeah, whatever. You two, come on down, set up."
Yeah,
no idea who we were. It's fine. Worked out.
It was great, and you got to check out AIW's The Carters Are Going to Change their podcast because their podcast is excellent. Because I steer the ship on that show, kind of, and Chandler's a part of it. The host with the most, and John Thorne are part of that. So listen to that each and every week, every Friday, new episode, and there's some great episodes coming up that will make you want to listen twice. So let's get started with the show, Steve. So
yeah,
really quick, we started the show back in October
of 2014.
Yeah, and our first guest was
Jerry the King Lawler,
and he's in attendance today, right here. Jerry the King Lawler is here.
He's got a picture. That's
there
nice.
He is.
Yeah.
He won't do anything to you, so there you go. Try to make a joke, but it did. But Jerry's here in attendance. So, but your first guest, Jerry the King Lawler. We had Seth Rollins early on.
We did.
We had a lot of EC3
early on.
So we started out hot.
We did.
Right out
of the gate.
Seth Rollins' interview went viral. Talking about CM Punk.
We thought we were big time.
Yeah. And then we got some interviews from AIW, but we had some shows that interviews and realized we needed to do a lot more interviews. So
yeah,
we had an interview every single week, basically. And, we're going to reminisce about the show. And, you guys can, I'm sure you guys are new listeners. You can let us know where your favorite interviews are. And I know you guys listen as well. Frankie, you listen, right? So you let us know who your favorite. But who are some of your favorite guests on the show, Steve?
I personally always enjoyed when Thorne would come on. because sometimes we would just go on our own little sidebar, I think, and annoy you because we would just start talking about nothing wrestling related at all. Something would hit, and we'd be like, oh, yeah, what about this? And then we'd just go off on a tangent.
Yeah.
I enjoyed having Johnny on. The first time we had Johnny Gargano on, and that was like a 2-part thing, and we pushed that, and there were a lot of people outside of Cleveland who maybe didn't know who Johnny was at the time, and now to look back and think about that, and that was a year and a half ago, and everything that he's done in terms of success now. Always love when Eddie Kingston drops in.
He's not. If you saw the sign walking,
he's not allowed here.
He's not allowed here.
100.
Him and Seth Rollins are not allowed here at the studio for the show.
Yeah.
If you don't know the joke with Seth Rollins, he's not allowed at any kind of music festival. Like, he is actually prohibited from actually entering some music festivals.
Why?
I don't know. He's on the like he's next to like bringing coolers in. You're not allowed to have Seth Rollins come in.
That's weird.
So he's barred from the show as well. So.
Sasha Banks, I always say, one of my favorites.
Yeah, she was going to smack this.
She threatened me.
Smack the shit out of you.
She said she was going to smack me.
Yeah,
she didn't. That would have been enjoyable.
What are the ones?
I mean, of course, I loved sitting next to Greg Iron since he's here. Got to say that, but
two-parter.
That was a two-parter.
Two-parter interviews we've had.
One that maybe didn't get a lot of listens, but I enjoyed was when we sat down with Too Cold Scorpio.
Oh, that was great.
I will forever remember the fact that he told us the story of how years later he found out what 420 meant, and because he enjoyed weed so much that had he known that, it would have been the 420 splash instead of the 450 splash as we all know it today.
And then he talked about if he would go into the Legends House, that only if he was allowed to smoke weed.
With Rob Van Dam.
That would be something I would watch on the network, definitely. But, so mine are, you weren't a part of it, Billy Gunn. Was vaping. This was recently.
Well, I was going to say you sat down with just Billy Gunn, but then I got to sit down with Brian Myers and Swoggle, and then Billy Gunn interrupted us.
Yeah,
so did Guido.
That was that was a lot of interviews on that show, but Billy Gunn was great because he was vaping, and we didn't talk about wrestling for most of the time. It was about vaping and him doing his entrance music. The lyrics to this. Ass Man. Can you sing this song?
Can I sing Ass Man?
We're in the spot right here.
I don't know. Because I'm an ass man. Boom, boom. That's all I know.
Now, Steve.
What else do you need to know?
This is Steve's last show. We're going to get into that later on in the show a little bit because we're going to introduce. He's not here yet, but we're going to introduce the new co-host for the This Is Awesome Wrestling show because Steve is leaving. We have 2 new co-hosts, and one is going to be here. The one that's still working on the negotiations for it, like the Miz. A lot of fine print we got to go through.
Is this guy's going to get paid? What are these negotiations?
He has some demands. He's a star.
Had I known.
He's a star. That's why he's showing up late here. So he'll be on the show to replace you officially.
I'm irreplaceable. Like Beyonce.
I don't know about that.
Irreplaceable.
Okay.
Is he going to sing songs the whole time?
No.
Can't replace that.
He's professional.
Oh, well.
So, did you bring anybody with you today, Steve?
Did I bring anyone with me?
You know what we're talking about. Did you bring anybody with you today?
Maybe. My friend Terry was going to show up.
Okay, Terry. Who knows about Terry? He knows. Yeah, Terry H.H.
Terry H.H. is the best.
Yeah.
We become close friends. There was that time that I actually got to talk. Remember, he called me.
Yeah.
And wanted me to go to some weird restaurant.
He wanted to marry you.
He wanted to marry me.
Yeah, he wanted to pay you $15,000 to get married.
Terry, that's not gonna.
That's not
good
enough. No.
No. No.
So who else is going to be here?
I think Bray. Bray may make an appearance.
Bray may be coming here.
Yeah.
And for the new listeners, Steve tries to do some impressions of people. It doesn't really work out.
No, but it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm kind of glad it's going away from the show. That's going to be not in the show anymore.
Oh man!
So maybe the new guy can do that.
I was working on a Russo impersonation, but I just left that one go once I realized we weren't going to do impersonations anymore.
You could try your Vince.
It was a lot of bros. There were a lot of bros.
Well, that's the big thing.
That's pretty much all you have to do.
You got to do. There's a certain amount of bros you have to do to separate yourself from Zack Ryder to Vince Russo. Though.
Yeah, and you got to do it with a different accent too.
Yeah,
you can't be like It's not a bro ski. He's a bro.
So what?
Yeah, you can't be
Let's do it.
like bro. Here's the thing, bro. Now I'm just saying, if I was still running the show right now, bro, the show would be now. You know what I'm talking about, Glenn, bro. Listen, it would be amazing right now, and they don't pay attention to detail. That's where it is right now, bro. And when I ran it, it was way better when I wrote the whole thing. I had to be the champion, bro.
Chandler Biggins.
That's what he did.
Grado's was better.
Grado's impersonations. Okay, there's another great interview that we did because when Grado first sat down with us, we didn't understand a word that he said.
See, I knew who he was. You didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
Because that was when his Madonna thing was happening.
Right. The Madonna thing was big, but you still didn't understand a word that he said at first.
No.
We're like, what? We're going to have to listen back. And I'm like, dude, Glenn, I think we're going to have to mark that explicit. And you're like, really? I'm like, I'm pretty sure he said fuck like 15 times, but I'm not sure.
I think he did, yeah. Just in case we throw the E on
But his
there.
impersonations are so great because he has that thick Scottish accent. And then like when he does just what he thinks is an American accent out of nowhere and says dude a bunch, you're like, that's pretty good.
Grado was, if you subscribe to the show, you probably listened to the Drinks with Grado episode that we had, which was basically the audio from the video I did it with him, which is on YouTube, which is absolutely hilarious. But like I said, the AAW Card is going to change podcast has Grado coming up Monday, first part 1, which is 10 times better than the interview I did with him. So stay tuned for that. So any other, we went to WrestleMania.
We did.
Weber Grill sponsored us. I think
I bumped into our favorite Big Papa Pump.
Well, let's get into the Weber Grill. So Weber Grill, Weber Grill sponsored us, and they sent us to WrestleMania last 2015.
15, yeah.
Airfare, hotel, spending money, and that was it. Yeah,
that's all we got. Yeah.
So
not that that's a little, but
so that was like what? That'd be like $6,000.
No, was it? It's like
Airfare,
3 or 4. I thought they gave us.
But we had spending money. We got that. So that was like our only really big sponsor.
That was
Everything
our big
else has been like
sponsorship.
trade off or like,
Yeah.
hey, can you say this for the show, whatever.
Yeah.
So we got a WrestleMania trip out of it.
We did. We got a free WrestleMania trip out of 100 episodes. We got one free WrestleMania trip, courtesy of Weber Grills, and I had to say their advertisement before and after every interview.
And they just disappeared.
And we don't know whatever happened to them.
They just
they opened up a
disappeared.
restaurant in Chicago. They big-timed us. They want us to go there, and then it never happened. Yeah. And, all right.
We're
Sorry.
supposed to be opening one here in Cleveland, but that's why they wanted to tap in the Cleveland fan base. But
I've never used a Weber Grill since dropping them.
Well, I don't think I would use Weber Grill before that, but anyway.
I didn't ever check the brand, to be honest.
No. So that was like our only really big sponsor with money. So, and I know a listener here asked us, like Colt Cabana and like Jericho, they get all these sponsors. And,
a little bit bigger deal than we are.
Yeah, way bigger deal. Yeah, a way bigger deal.
Colt,
So it takes time.
As you bring up Colt Cabana, what about the first time we met Colt?
Oh, yeah, that was interesting.
And he even did that in the interview. It was a very awkward meeting because we were like, wait, is he busy? Is he not busy right now? What's he doing? Not sure if we wanted to interrupt him and ask him.
Because it was our first time in the locker room, almost.
Yeah, we wanted to be polite.
So, we're sitting there with our microphones, and I'm sure, every wrestler is like, oh, they see a podcast, like, oh, a podcast,
yeah,
ugh, whatever. So we already have that stigma. We're not a wrestler, obviously. We're not any part of the show. We're just there because we're allowed to do interviews. So it's very awkward meeting some of these guys because it's like you're a fan of theirs, but they don't know who you are, and you want to interview them. And sometimes they say no, sometimes they're dicks, sometimes they're nice.
You're on their turf, so you got to be very cautious.
We'll get Greg on, but I'm sure Greg can be like, what the hell are these guys doing in the locker room? Because you scope around. There's a respect thing. You got to shake everybody's hand. You got to do that. And
but then there's Cabana. But then Cabana comes down, and he's just chilling there. And I don't even know if we were really ready to go yet. But we're like, it looks busy. Well, we'll ask him in a minute or whatever. And then he just kind of walks over. You guys want to talk to me?
Yeah.
You guys want to talk?
So I think Thorne asked him to come on the show.
Well, he must have prefaced it.
And I said hello to him, but I didn't ask him because I didn't want to interrupt.
You just met him,
yeah. So I was looking at him. I think that's why he said something because I was looking at him, trying to be like, oh, hopefully he recognizes me to come over and say hello or do an interview. But yeah, Colt Cabana was great. That was.
And we had there was a little moment of awkward silence, and we're like, I mean, if you want to.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I don't have to if you guys want. And we're like, no, yeah, come on the show. There was a moment where we're like, wait, should we fanboy this? We're like, no, we really want you on the show.
Yeah.
It was fun. But then that turned into a decent relationship with Colt Cabana, who even taught you the world of GarageBand and whatnot.
Yeah, I didn't like it. So thank you, Colt Cabana. I stick to Audition. I will not use GarageBand. I'm looking at a shirt which is hanging up here in studio with, if you don't know, we post on social media. We have a This Is Awesome shirt. It's a former, what promotion is this shirt? Oh, that's right. Sorry. I didn't know. But anyway, it's a This Is Awesome shirt that was given to us by a J-Rock who gave us. We came here in studio.
Oh, I wasn't here for that.
Yeah. So he gave us this shirt, and he I don't think he signed it.
He did not sign it. He did not sign it.
So he gave us. So we wanted to have everybody who's been on the show sign the shirt. So there's a thing here. Anybody here that can name everybody that has signed the shirt, you'll get a prize. I don't think anybody has done it yet.
What's the prize?
I have a Rock jersey over there.
Oh.
I have a Stone Cold Steve Austin figurine.
Oh, my.
And I have Daniel Bryan's book.
Free slice of pizza.
A Rock jersey? It's like the authentic jersey from when the Rock were used to wear jerseys. People don't want it. It's too small for me, so I didn't wear it. You can't wear it. No, you can't.
They don't. Our fans in attendance, they're not into the old school wrestling.
Very quiet
apparently.
today. They're very quiet.
Yeah. Whoa. I mean, she's sitting over there in her Charlotte Flair T-shirt. We got a Charlotte Flair T-shirt, a Becky Lynch T-shirt on a dude, mind you, and then an all ego Ethan Page shirt. Now that I can appreciate. That's another one. When we talk about Scott Steiner, which one of our favorite segments we did multiple times was Call Scott Steiner. Never answered.
So here's a story about Scott Steiner. So he was going to be a part of episode 100.
Yeah.
Like legit call. Like he was confirmed to call in. I was going to surprise
This was
Steve,
my surprise.
But we kept pushing it off 100 that it just faded away. He never returned my phone calls. So no Scott Steiner.
So no Scott Steiner. But we did have multiple people leave voicemails for him, and that was always fun.
Mike Polk Jr., your comedian in Cleveland, has left a voicemail for him. Ethan Page has.
Ethan Page, so then when I recently...
Who else did?
I think they're the only ones that left a message for him. But then when I interviewed Cage recently, he does a great Steiner impersonation and actually knows Ethan Page, so I got to get him to call out Ethan Page for making the phone
Well, when
call.
Frankie Flynn comes on, I want to see Frankie Flynn's Scott Steiner impersonation.
Frankie Flynn Scott. Well, he is of the theater.
That's the first thing he's going to do. If he doesn't do it, he's not allowed on the show.
He is Frankie Flynn. The only thing he's ever done on the show was a quick sound clip of singing to Leva Bates.
That had like 1,000 views on YouTube.
1,000 views. You're a star, Frankie.
Oh my God! If 1,000 views made you a star on YouTube, then we'll all be stars in this room.
Well, I mean, it's Cleveland.
No offense to everybody.
It's Cleveland. That's not that big of a deal.
Did Frankie Flynn put his watermark on the video?
Hey. I don't want people to take my stuff.
Chandler Biggins with the dig.
I don't want people to take my stuff.
Coming in hot.
Whatever. You got 25,000 views on
25,000 views.
Yeah.
Ronda Rousey
Yeah.
and Jessamine Duke.
For those listening who don't know that little dig, I know. It's because I put my Twitter handle on my video. And just because I know how to do that doesn't mean you guys can dig on me for that.
It was one dig. Not you guys.
Was. You're out of VIP now. Yep.
We just laughed because we knew what he was talking about.
Yeah. All right, so let's go to our guests since we're bringing them up now. You guys can grab those microphones now off the floor.
Oh, we're going to have them on at the same time.
Yeah, at the same time. So Dr. Dan
DCR.
and Frankie Flynn are here in studio, like we said. First time we've had no other students on the show.
Frankie Flynn is the only student to appear on the show.
But he's not formerly a guest.
Right. Aside from Britt.
Okay, that's right, yeah. So first time, long-time listeners, first-time guests on the show today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I listen. I do.
All right.
Yeah, as people who are within the wrestling world and listeners of the show, what are there elements of it, like when you look back, because you guys have listened for a long time, are there like moments or like people, maybe interviews where you're like, oh man, that was a good question, or like when you listen to it, is there like, man, I wish I would have asked this question to certain people?
Not really, because a lot of times, like, we've talked to them, and if we have questions, we've already kind of like asked it to.
Yeah, because you
like,
guys have
certain
been
people.
there. Like Terry Funk just had like a circle around him when he was on the show, and then he was downstairs.
Yeah, I sat around him during and after the show because I was managing like earlier in the night, so I got to sit with Terry and just listen to him tell stories to like Cedric and ACH. It was pretty cool.
Now, Frankie, before you can speak, you got to do a Scott Steiner impersonation right now.
Before that, though, first road trip that only me and Frankie Flynn were on.
Okay.
We are on 90. We're almost home from Alpha 1 in Canada. And Frankie Flynn goes, "You ever seen the Scott Steiner do math video?" that was the first.
That is true.
That was the first conversation about Scott Steiner we ever had. And then That's just been a recurring joke we have at training now.
Did you listen to the This Is Awesome Wrestling show during your road trip?
I have listened to it on one. I don't remember if it was that one specific.
Okay.
I know
all
we
right.
had it on
all right.
once.
Fair enough.
Before Frankie, Scott Steiner. Let's go.
Come on, Frankie.
Do you do a Scott Steiner impersonation?
I think he does, no?
How many times do you watch
He's a
that
prince
video?
of Broadway.
You should figure out something.
He's put in the spot. He's very shy. He's very shy.
Something.
It's really working through this.
What about the
This is
P.D.
dead air.
Williams thing where he drove down the wrong way
Yeah.
on the one-way road?
I'm going to go down this one-way road. Come on, Petey. You know how long it's been since I've been in, like, an accident?
That's it.
That's
There
Frankie
you
Flynn,
go.
Scott
Steiner.
Yeah.
There it is.
He got-
Oh my goodness! All right, you can talk now. So I
Hey,
mean,
Frankie, welcome on the show.
so you guys both have been involved with AIW and obviously training at the school with Gargano and Candace and whatnot. How cool is it for you to say, "Hey, Johnny Gargano is my trainer"?
Now it's like in the beginning it was cool because I really didn't know a lot about independent wrestling when I started.
oh, the way you started that, at first I thought I was going to be like, now it's pretty cool, but before,
like Johnny was he's like the way he's been like rising from where he was when he started
Yeah.
to now is like a really cool transition of like how you start from real small beginnings and go to where he's signed to WWE, and like then it was really cool, but now it's like a lot of people recognize him and they're like, oh, you're trained by Johnny, or like even people that I see in life or my mom or dad like talk to, like, oh yeah, you can see him on the WWE network and maybe now on Monday Night Raw starting next couple weeks or whenever.
yeah,
he
almost like there's
debuts.
a little more of like a respect factor for like what you're doing, because you're not just being trained by Chandler Biggins over there. Don't crack on Biggins.
You're getting the real deal. Tornadoes apparently, so are earthquakes. Their works. And we know how to auto-tune rap.
But you've got name recognition to your trainer, because a lot of people are trained, and if you're not within the wrestling industry or a huge fan of it, a lot of times you hear training names out there and you're like, well, I don't know who that is. But Johnny has gotten a bit more mainstream with where we are too with it today. That you've got that. Frankie, are you going to cry on Friday, Johnny's last independent show?
I don't think I'll cry. It'll definitely be like a bittersweet, emotional day.
DCR thinks you're going to cry. I feel like that look on the face.
I'm probably going to cry.
You're going to cry?
Yep.
You're
I know
going to be
I
a big
am.
baby.
Chandler's going to cry for sure.
Oh,
I think
Chandler's been
everybody's
crying
gonna-
for the last 3 weeks.
I think everybody's going to cry. I think everybody's going to cry in this show.
I don't think I'm going to cry.
You're not a crier?
No, not really.
You're not a real man if you don't cry.
Whoa.
Well,
Some people just can't cry on the spot.
Yeah.
Some
I
people
mean-
got to like work it up.
On the spot, but Gargano's final match and AIW, hopefully. I mean, it's going to be tears, man.
A little emotional.
It's going to be emotional.
All right.
I'm hoping a swerve happens at the end. Somebody attacks him or something. Like Evolve.
Like when Ethan Page attacked
Yeah.
him at the end of
I
Evolve?
would love to see that.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'll attack him.
Steve Guy.
Right. All right. So, Frankie, you and I had a little beef on the show for many, many weeks. And I didn't really like your, whole gimmick and persona, but I'm going to be honest.
You can't say you and I, considering he wasn't here to defend
Yeah.
himself.
You would just be like, oh, he has no right to bow.
Well, I have them.
Why does he bow? I don't like anything about him.
I didn't
Avid
get.
listener, Frankie
I didn't
Flynn.
get the whole wearing your getup when you're trying to sell tickets or whatever you do at merch, selling merch.
Oh,
I didn't get that because
the Sergeant Pepper
'cause,
Lonely
cause, like-
whatever outfit.
Because Dr. Dan isn't doing it and everybody else isn't doing it, but you stayed in character the whole time.
Yeah.
But why nobody else is? Carson isn't doing it. Anybody?
Kayfabe, brother.
Yeah.
No.
So you're really?
an actor.
Dresses.
Are you really
I'm
the
an
Prince of
actual
Broadway?
I like to think I am.
Oh, okay.
To paint a visual for everyone, Frankie Flynn showed up tonight wearing jeans, a black button-down shirt, and a charcoal gray vest over the top of that.
Like I said earlier, looking like an usher for a high school play.
I said he was going with
Here's
like
your
a Johnny
program.
Cash
Here's your
vibe.
program, sir. Here's your program.
I've done it.
I don't doubt that. Yeah.
Frankie Flynn, what was it like when you were first listening to the show, but then, like Glenn said, Glenn was
And I didn't really know you.
saying
I
these
never
things.
like introduced myself, so it was just like random. It was my opinion. I was opining.
Were you getting pissed listening to this? I'm like, who the F is this guy
Who's
just
this guy?
freaking ripping on me?
You didn't care.
You didn't care.
You didn't fucking
I didn't really
care.
care a whole lot. I was kind of just like, yeah, who is this guy?
I mean, you're getting any kind of any kind of attention is good attention, right? So I mean, half the other guys weren't getting any pub on the show, so people were like, "Who's Frankie Flynn? Why does Glenn hate Frankie Flynn? It's your
And
name's
at least
out
you
there."
actually, said his name correctly, unlike mine, where you just
What'd I say?
DRC the whole show when Justin was here, and then finally at the end you're like, oh yeah, we've been saying his name wrong the whole time.
DRC.
Yeah, that's what you were saying the whole time.
Oh man, you're calling Dr. Dan DRC.
I think it's
instead of
because
DCR?
that was during the whole I think the RNC thing too. RNC.
I'm just listening. I'm sitting there and I'm like, wait a minute.
In
Saying
fairness,
my name wrong.
he's been
Sorry.
a big DCR fan from day one. Though
I do. I have
the
all the
moment you
pamphlets.
came out on that stupid whatever, what's it called?
Hoverboard?
It's not
It's not a
stupid.
hoverboard. I hate that they're called hoverboards.
It's great. That's a great gimmick.
There it is. It's a great gimmick. He
I
thought it
actually
was
use
the greatest
functionally
gimmick ever.
in real life now. It's great.
And they killed you because they have the ramp now.
Well, I'm not afraid of the ramp. The ramp is just
It's
very
too much of a
steep.
risk.
Very steep.
Yeah.
Tried it once. Not going to do it again.
I heard your hoverboard almost blew up at a
Yeah.
show.
Yeah. Ran over a wad of athletic tape, and then it stopped working, and I almost fell flat on my face. Ended up getting it fixed, but I almost ate it right in the middle of a show.
But it's a great gimmick because right after you started doing it, I saw some indie videos of other guys starting to do it too.
There's only 2 hoverboard guys right now. It's me and
Someone did a clothesline on the hoverboard in the ring.
Mhm.
Is that the same guy that?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's one kid that trained with Seth Rollins, and then one guy that's me.
Yeah. I like it. I like it. I like his gimmick. I like DCR.
There you go. Got it right.
No, I didn't.
But
Did
explain
I?
your gimmick. Now we say Prince of Broadway, and obviously,
Well, I'm not done ripping on. I'm not.
oh, you're
I'm
not done.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
I'm sorry. We're gonna
but-
go back to ripping on.
No,
on
I'm not
Frankie.
because I'm going to say I respect
Oh,
his gimmick now. I respect what he's done because he's come a long way in the ring, teaming with Eddie Kingston, facing him, before that as well. So I give him kudos.
respect,
now.
brother.
It's respect.
Yeah.
I may not get it, but I enjoy it.
What is?
Enjoy you getting beat.
What was your favorite match so far, Frankie, in your young career at AIW? Did you enjoy teaming with Eddie, or was it more, or did you enjoy competing against Eddie more?
Probably teaming with him a little more.
Yeah?
He hits really hard. Really
He does hit hard, yeah.
And it hurts and stings. and sucks.
You're not really a talker, Frankie Flynn, are you?
He's really not. Do they have promo class
Yeah,
in
do
this
you have
AIW
promo?
school, or?
Actually,
when it comes to promos.
yeah, all the promos are on
All
YouTube.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's
If
all
you
on
ever want to
YouTube.
watch me
Not really
awkwardly
a-
take
Half the guys are not in the school anymore, but there are some Frankie Flynn out there.
It was so bad. That was the worst promo.
Do you ever
I've
not
had.
awkwardly take your shirt off?
I mean,
Frankie Flynn's wearing a Rick Rude T-shirt, isn't he? In one?
I am.
Yeah, it was a Rick Rude T-shirt. I remember.
Yeah.
That was great.
What was the thing?
Please, during the break, find on YouTube.
So
Frankie
where do you
Flynn.
tap into this? I don't know, psyche to cut a promo because you don't talk very loudly normally. Although before the show, Frankie and Flynn and I are just standing over here having a 30-minute conversation by ourselves. Apparently, you can't talk to him about wrestling, but he'll tell you a 15-minute story about William Shakespeare
Oh God! Don't get
and
me
visiting
started about
Stratford
that.
upon Avon.
I mean, like I said, I respect your work in the ring. You've improved,
Thank
and obviously Chandler and John trust you with guys like Eddie and BJ and whatnot. Some of the more known guys. So kudos to you. And you can't get out of the six-pack scramble matches, can you?
I mean, I take them as a blessing. I can highlight the stuff I'm really good at and hide the stuff I'm not so
Yeah.
great at yet. But you
And
never
you and-
know when I can do something a little crazy.
And you and Josh were a tag team. Joshua Singh.
Yep, we were,
So that's not.
and then he broke apart, and
Yeah.
then that's it.
So what?
Haven't seen Sing in a while, but you never know if our paths may or may not cross again. But
No,
you never know.
people don't know that. You obviously are out of, you go other wrestling promotions and wrestle and whatnot. With AIW is probably your strongest one, right? The biggest one, probably.
Yeah.
So I mean, is it? I don't want it because the guy that books the show is sitting right here. But for you, as your character develop and whatnot, and is it hard when you come to a show you're not going to be booked, but you want to further your character, you want to get back in the ring, you want to show, and you're featured here and there, but you're not. Every other month you're sitting one out.
I'm working other places too, which that helps with my character development and
Yeah.
stuff, and even training. We try to treat it as we're at a show.
Yeah.
So in the past couple of months, I've felt like I've gotten a lot better in like character aspects, and like now, like if you look back like my first match to now, I haven't had a lot of matches like in a number sense, but I feel like everything I've been able to do, either managing with Alex Daniels or having being on shows around Cleveland, even in like Chicago for freelance, or even up at like Alpha One in Canada, like those are places that I've got to since I'm still less than a year in of doing shows, my chances are sporadic, but I really try to take advantage of everything if I'm managing or if I'm like on the show, because I can have different elements of my character, either being that that guy that the little kid wants to tackle off the hoverboard because I'm just riding around while Daniels wrestles, or something, or if I'm in the ring like trying to get a reaction out of people.
To me, it seems like you almost have a little bit of an advantage because you not only get to wrestle, but then you get to do the managing. And when we're in a day and age where everything is so character-driven, I feel like when you're managing, you can tap into actually what is your character a bit more. Does that help you, or do you?
Like some of my best stuff that I feel is better was from my managing standpoint. Like Alex just had a match with Desmond Xavier, and some of my managing stuff, I got a better reaction than I have like in match stuff. But doing more character stuff outside of the ring has made me feel a lot more comfortable doing character stuff in, because it's kind of like that Ricky Bobby, like I don't know what to do with my hands right now thing.
Right.
But if you're always actively doing something, like it rubs off from like managing outside the ring to like in it. Like now I understand, like, okay, if I'm trying to be, if I'm Dr. Dan and I'm, beating someone up, like I know, okay, I'm going to say this or do this mannerism. Like it's just playing with it and trying to learn what your character like truly is.
I want to put you guys on the spot real quick. It's got to be a quick answer, Frankie, okay? You've been to all these AIW shows now.
Speak up.
All these AIW shows at this point. You've watched so many different guys come through. Some of them you've already seen signed. Who is the one guy that you have watched or been in a match with? You're like, man, that guy is amazing. Maybe you anticipate him to be even bigger than what he is currently, or you're surprised he's still not on WWE.
Maria Manic.
Somebody who just absolutely floored you. Do you have one?
When we were in the when I managed Sting in the four-way at Big Trouble in Little Cleveland, like ACH, like all the stuff he did, like all the acrobatic stuff, and like how like his mannerisms in the ring, I thought that was really cool. I know he's in Ring of Honor and like I believe he's still in Ring of Honor, and like he does all of his stuff. Like I thought he was pretty cool. I really gotten to work in the ring with like a lot of like high profile names. Like I've been in the ring with Heidi and like Rex Brody and like Cloudy and all those guys. And then even in the Gauntlet, I was in with like Donston, Cheech, and Colin.
Yeah.
But it's like ACH was a guy that really like, stood out to me. Like the stuff he did, he's like, oh, I'll do this because you're gonna do this. Like it was just kind of cool to see how it flowed.
Oh, he's pretty awesome. Frankie.
I gave you plenty of time, man.
I was listening to your
Yeah, he was taking it in.
Frankie, you don't have to put your thumb over the mic like that, like you're
Were you
rapping.
drinking it in, man.
You're gonna
Seriously,
you're gonna block yourself from talking.
That's how he
Yeah.
talks. Like Frankie will, whenever he talks with a microphone, he'll put his thumb over
Why?
it.
Is that a hold on? Is that a Broadway trick?
something I learned.
Oh.
While doing
Well, we need you to.
Who taught it to you?
Yeah, who taught you that?
I don't even remember.
Is that what you taught Chandler?
Was it worldwide?
It's like you're about to rap, like you're about to drop some bars.
It's kind of like
a beat.
Or hold it.
Give me a beat. Give me a beat, Greg.
I'll begin this pulling up a beat.
No, he's not.
All right, who's your guy, Frankie? One person.
I'd say one person, probably be the Hot Sauce Entertainment.
Hot
Or just
Sauce.
Hot Sauce in general.
Yeah, Tracy Williams. That's a good pick, man.
Just talking to him when cutting the promos together and working on that whole thing was real great to get like inside his mind type deal.
Yeah, he's a solid pick. And that is one person who we talked about on the show here before. Tracy was on WWE's website for one of the people to watch from Evolve.
Yeah.
And he's kind of a guy based on that I'm still surprised we haven't heard more news of him or NXT or anything situated with that.
Yeah, he's
But who knows?
facing. Who's he facing on Friday, John? Erie. Oh, that's going to be a good match. Friday.
Shigehiro Irie.
Yeah. Guys, before we wrap up this segment of the show, take a little break here and bring on the main event here for the show. What is the end game for for you guys? I mean, are you trying to get?
Oh,
I mean, obviously, like NXT, WWE. I mean, do you want to go to like a Ring of Honor? I mean, what is the end game, and is that like in the near future for you guys?
Obviously, like everyone's goal, like when they were younger, was like be the guy holding up the belt at WrestleMania, pointing at pointing at
I can see
everybody.
Dr. Dan doing that.
But it's just kind of a thing. I don't look at it like, obviously, like one day I would like to be there. That'd be cool. But for now, it's like trying to set my goals. Like I want to do an Evolve tryout for now, and then see where I am, and then evaluate from there, and be like, okay, I'm gonna go and do here. Maybe I'll do a Ring of Honor thing. Maybe I'll try and put feelers out for this place. Like
Do you have an Evolve tryout?
I have not done one yet.
Oh,
I'm going to.
There you go.
A WrestleMania ramp would be much safer for the hoverboard.
Yeah,
It's a longer, less.
Is there enough battery though?
It's not as
for
steep.
the-
I've
is there
never
enough
run out of
battery?
battery on that.
Oh, okay.
Frankie?
I mean, same as him. Of course, everyone wants to go to WWE. A huge thing for me is I would love to go to New Japan.
Yeah, New Japan. I don't know. They would probably eat up the Broadway crap.
Yeah, they would.
But other than that, I just kind of really want to wrestle. So I mean, just going anywhere and getting a chance to get in the ring and doing what I've wanted to do for so long.
Why was running and crossing paths with Leva Bates not a part of your answer?
You had her,
Like
man. You
one
had her
more time.
swoon.
We had her. She was
Had her
swooning.
She was so into those blue pants. Were about well.
Oh,
we won't.
Oh, whoa.
There's
I
ladies
mean-
here.
Whoa.
There's ladies here.
Sorry.
Jeez, Steve. That's why you're not on the show anymore. All right. Dr. Dan, Frankie Flynn, this won't be the last time you're on the show,
I hope not.
but we truly appreciate you guys stopping by and being a part of it. We're going to take a short little break here.
Do they officially get to sign the T-shirt now?
Yes, they can. Yeah, they
Yeah.
can. They can. There you go.
The audience is excited about you signing a T-shirt.
They are. It's a big deal. Big deal. Who are you going to sign by? Do you have an idea?
I don't know. I'm gonna scout, where there's enough open space. and
On
then
top
I
of Britt
will,
Baker?
No.
No.
Are you gonna make it like
No.
EC3s where anybody
Generic?
could have wrote that?
Yeah, probably.
Frankie, do you
I
like
think it's
draw?
just very, very easy.
Do you draw like the Phantom of the Opera mask and everything? Make it like real?
Or
Is it going to
those-
take an hour for you to draw yours?
those two
Your
faces,
argument?
right? It's like the white mask
Oh.
and the black mask.
Oh,
Your
there you go.
signature has a star. Do you even have it like? All right. Well, we'll see it.
We're going to see it. We'll tweet a photo of it. All right. We're going to take a break for the studio audience, but for the magic of podcasting, there won't be a break for you guys listening. But we're going to take a break here in studio. We'll come back. We have Gregory Iron on the show and maybe some Chandler Biggins as well. Woo! And we're back. This is Awesome Wrestling Show.
Thank you for starting that applause, White Oprah,
Yes.
on the Twitter.
We have our intern in studio now. Intern Justin Summers here.
Showed up late.
Late as always. No Ecto Cooler for anybody. He's hiding the Ecto Cooler from everybody, too.
I've yet to get Ecto Cooler or promised Chipotle.
You have not yet. You have not had. I've had both.
Oh, must be nice.
That's when you don't show up.
And a ride. You got a ride from you too.
Yeah. When I was drunk.
Unbelievable.
I was drunk. And we got Taco Bell together. We're like best friends, Steve Guy.
Wow.
Which is why
we've
you're
driven
fired.
together.
Which is why you're fired.
We flew together.
Yeah, we did.
Can I tell you? Wait, I have to, before we get into this next portion, because that brings me back to the WrestleMania trip.
All right.
We're flying, I think, out there, and we get our connecting flight.
I think we're coming back home. No.
Was it coming back home?
No, I think it was on the way there because I hated you on the way back, so I wouldn't have sat next to you.
You hated me?
I was sick of you.
Oh, okay. So we go out there, and this row next to me, nobody is sitting there, and it's like one of those emergency exit rows or whatever on the plane. So I'm like, oh, sweet. I'm going to go sit over there. I asked the lady, I'm like, hey, can I sit there since nobody's there? And I'm like in a middle seat. And she's like, yeah, sure, go ahead. I'm like, awesome, great. I did, and there's like no seats in front of me because they skipped that row. I got all this space, and it's just me and one other seat. I'm like, this is fantastic. Next thing I know, fucking Glenn Moore comes, brings his shit up, and sits right next to me. He's like, I didn't want to sit in my seat either.
No,
I'm like,
I
oh
didn't.
my God, I had all this space.
I was
What
like
do
in
you-
the middle. I wanted the end seat with extra leg room. I'm a big guy.
I was like
it.
having this moment, this glorious moment. I'm like, yeah, baller. flight out to California.
I remember asking the lady, the stewardess, I'm like, can I go over there? And Steve Guy's face was like, please, God, say no. She's like, yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I was like, you son of a bitch.
We could have recorded a podcast in there.
Yeah, I guess we could have.
That would have been...
We recorded in the hotel, though, instead later on.
That's true. We did, yeah.
After meeting Big Papa Pump.
Yes,
well,
sure.
not really meeting. I kind of bumped into him.
Bumped into him. Literally. Bumped into him.
You were busy getting pictures with Vader.
Vader's the best. Vader's the best, Chandler, right? Oh, God. Vader's the best. All right, so since we're in the second half of the show, we're going to go to our main event. But before we get to that, Steve, this is your final show. We, had a tearjerker in the previous episode, so we're not going to dwell on it too much. But this is your final show here. I'm sure you'll probably be sprinkled in, maybe never, but who knows? I don't know. But this is your final hurrah. Any final words?
I'm not dying, Glenn.
What's your on the show? You are. You're dead.
But I thought
Okay,
I
you're
got to
dead.
come back
You're
when
dead.
I
No,
want.
you're dead. You're dead.
I don't get to come back ever?
No, you're dead. So what's your final word? Final words.
It's been a lot of fun.
All right.
I have appreciated the support from our fans, especially the ones who showed up tonight. That's pretty cool. I don't think when we started this thing we thought we'd actually be able to have 100 episodes, one, but then two, have a 100th episode and people actually would come watch us live. I hope now they realize that we're not that attractive. But I think that's been the best part. We get to interact with people, and then we got to become a part of AIW, which was really cool for me, ring announcing. I don't know, man. It's been a blast, but I got to work on these jokes, as obviously those who listen know. And Greg laughs at me, but the only joke I told towards him was a callback to a joke he made in the Wrestling Snobs chat room, complaining why nobody told him about having an AJ Styles haircut. So, well, when it's a crowd of one, Greg, when it's a crowd of one, Facebook reference should work pretty well.
So Steve Guy's leaving This Is Awesome Wrestling show because he wants to do open mics in front of crowds like this.
Yeah, pretty much.
So,
or bigger crowds. So he's got to start booking himself more.
Open mics are like this, though.
Oh, Steve Guy does bigger rooms than just open mics, brother. It's been around the block. It works. We'll do it. It's going to be fun.
All right, well, there is 2 new co-hosts for the show. The show will not die.
No, nor should it.
We will continue doing the show.
As we said last show, there's so many interviews you have lined up coming up. It's going to be great.
I told the person not to walk in because we have one person signed. I don't want to say signed, but he agreed to do the show.
What are we, NXT or WWE?
What are you getting so? Okay, all right. So we have one person signed to a fake contract to do a show for us, and we have another co-host, which is in negotiations. And
is there going to be a contract signing? Are tables about to get flipped? Somebody going to go through a table? These contract signings never go well, Glenn.
Shit is going to go down.
They never go well.
Shit is going to go down tonight. So just to let you know. So, Steve,
is it Terry H.H.?
It's not Terry H.H.
Oh.
But like I said, This Is Awesome Wrestling Show will not die. We will continue. And before we bring out our co-host, which is going to be interviewing Gregory Iron, you are going to be officially off the show, Steve Guy.
What do you mean?
Like, that was your final word. You're done.
I don't get to sit down and hang out for the rest of the...
No, so Gregory Iron is going to be interviewed by me.
That's news to me.
Me and the new guy. So, before we get to that, we have interviews. Since Steve Guy's leaving, I delved into the email book to get interviews. We're going to have Danny Doring from ECW on the show. Not ESPN.
Wow.
ECW Danny Doring.
Good thing I left the format's apparently changing away from...
So he's going to be a 2-part interview. We're going to have Tommy Dreamer on the show, and we're going to be promoting House of Hardcore here in Cleveland next month.
Yeah.
We're going to have
October
DDP
14th.
on the show next month. Jeff Jarrett is going to be on the show. So we have a lot of guests coming up on the show that you will not be a part of. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
To book these guests. So I apologize.
When you introduce Jeff Jarrett, will you say JEFF JARRETT?
I mean, maybe.
All right, just asking. Just keep that one in mind.
I don't think I want to do that for him, but
No, maybe when you introduce the interview on the show, not in front of him.
So
Is Karen going to be with him?
This person, I need to. Can you press number 6 on the mixer, the unmute button,
What you gonna do,
or is it
brother,
already on?
when Terry H.H. comes back as a special guest host,
slide the
brother,
slider,
for This Is Awesome
slide
Wrestling
the
Show.
slider up to halfway, please.
Episode
that's perfect.
101.
So I'm gonna.
Oh, man, I'm going to be the best guest co-host you ever had at episode 101. Glenn has left the station to bring in the new co-host. We're waiting.
So
the door is open.
One half of the new co-hosts, the duo here for This Is Awesome Wrestling Show.
Maybe a trio, like the Freebirds. Or the New Day. It's a new
person
it's a new show. Yes, it is.
replacing Steve Guy, because we need two people to replace Steve Guy.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
The new co-host for This Is Awesome Wrestling Show is Gregory Iron.
Well, that's I'm willing to accept that. Greg, I want to shake your hand. If anybody would sit in my...
Well, Greg is like the third man, because the other guy is not as famous.
See, you killed it because you could have said who's the third man. But I mean, I guess you would have killed it in general when he's not as famous as me. But you know, whatever.
So, Steve, I mean, you're not dead, so you can grab a mic, so you're fine.
Oh, thank you. Okay,
Yeah.
appreciate that.
So, Greg, I know we talked earlier this week about doing the podcast, and I'm pumped to have an actual wrestler be a part of the show and provide his insight when we talk about the big news for surrounding wrestling. And you have a very well-known name, and I don't think you ever delved into the podcast world, have you?
I have not. I've been on a lot of them, but I've never actually been a podcaster. More of a podcastee.
Well, you are now a podcaster.
Wow.
So, like I said, we have one more man that we have. We'll be tweeting it out later when we get the ink dries on the contract. But yeah, I'm pumped, man. I'm pumped because you're on the show. We had a 2-part interview with you. You're from the Cleveland area.
I am.
Very, very well known here in AIW, but also this around the country, around the world.
I heard you were in Johnny Gargano's wedding.
Yeah, I was in Johnny's
Yeah,
wedding.
we're going to talk about that definitely. But yeah, it's I'm pumped to do this, and I'm sure the people listening is a new voice for the show. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun, and it's going to be awesome to give you more of a listen. You know, I mean, obviously you already have a strong following, but to bring those followers to the show and to impact the show, but also yourself. And hey, you can add podcaster to your resume now.
I guess I can. I just hope I don't suck.
Well, we'll see.
Are you nervous?
No, I mean, this is kind of my strength, is talking and rambling, sometimes incoherently, because I've had several concussions.
So you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You can't be worse than Steve. So
Well, that's true.
that's true. Steve, how do you feel about Greg replacing you?
Well, as I was saying before I was interrupted,
Yeah.
no, Greg's
You
a
talk
great
too much.
replacement.
Yeah.
I like Greg Iron, so I'm good with that. And I hopefully brings his contact list with him. You know, guys had matches with people, and maybe get some even more interviews.
If you want to talk to Eric Ryan, I got his number in my phone.
Let's do it. So how do you guys feel about
riding his beach
Greg
cruiser?
being a part of the show? Yeah?
The fans love it. I mean,
gonna be great.
I said last week that This Is Awesome Wrestling Show would not die, and having Greg Iron on it. Glenn and I had many conversations, even about this beforehand. I said, man, that'd be a great get. That's even going to even take it to the next level. So I actually have a lot of confidence in you, Greg.
Thank you.
And
More confidence than my dad
Yeah.
has ever had in me.
I actually have really high expectations.
It's real bitter, isn't it? Shout out to my dad, who will never listen to a podcast. Probably doesn't even know what a
Never?
podcast is. No, yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. You're gonna bring a lot of drama with my family.
Yeah, is there
with
going to be a
this
lot of
podcast.
that? Is there going to be a lot of
Very,
that?
very Christopher Titus in real life.
we do get kind of personal on the show,
Yeah,
so it is
yeah.
welcome. So yeah, so I like I said, I'm pumped to do this, but we're going to talk about Gargano's wedding.
Okay.
Gargano has his final match in AIW, last independent wrestling match this Friday here in Cleveland.
Yep.
AIWrestling.com for those listening that want to buy tickets. Chandler, sold out?
Oh, no, keep buying.
Is there going to be a sellout probably?
Oh, they'll never declare a sellout.
Don't sell it out until the fire department goes.
So is it safe if a grouper is coming Friday door?
I mean, it's always
Okay.
better to buy online.
Right. That 1 cent, though, it's maybe too much. So, how was the wedding? And is there anything that you can tell us that maybe obviously there's pictures, there's videos, it seemed like it was, being trending on social media, but is there anything that you could tell us that maybe didn't get out there on social media?
I don't know. I mean, I think in this day and age, pretty much everything was real out in the open. I don't know. It was a very laid-back wedding. It wasn't really a religious thing. It was two nerdy people getting married to each other. Nerdy people who happen to be, I guess, decently attractive, and it's very fairy tale-ish because it was at Disneyland. I guess the one thing I can talk about is the reception. I think the reception was more emotional than the actual wedding because there was a lot of, I was the best man, so a lot of pressure on me to put on a cool speech, and I don't know. I think I delivered a lot of heartfelt stuff that I said to Johnny that I know he'll probably never say to me. So I don't know. It was a good 4 days, I guess.
Was it the best promo that you've ever done?
Yeah, until the end when I killed the whole speech. I had people crying. I started to get a standing ovation, and then I waved off Candace and Johnny as they tried to hand me a wine glass to do the toast so I can make a joke about Johnny owing me trans money, which no one but, the 5 wrestlers at the table got. So I just killed the crowd. And then Johnny and Candace awkwardly stared at me. And then the families awkwardly stared at me. And then it went from the best man speech ever to the most nightmarish best man speech ever. And then I proceeded to make the toast and then spilled the water in the glass all over Candace. So, really went south real quick.
But you won them back in the lip sync with your amazing Titanic move with Sexy Chucky T.
I got to be honest. I stole the show in that. I mean, it's kind of
like you will here.
It's really, you watch it. And if you like Johnny and you like Tommaso, of course you'd be like, "Oh, that was great." But I feel like without that Titanic bit, there would have been no. That would not have went viral. I knew it was over because the next day, all the little kids at the reception were walking around doing the little fish thing that I did in the video.
Yeah.
So I knew
you're over.
Greg the Fish, a.k.a. Nemo with the gimp fin, got over.
Could we see Greg the Fish make a appearance with the realist and no strings attached?
I mean, if that's what Veda and Marty and Ray are into, sure.
All right, there you go.
Little fish.
How was it? Was that your first time over there in Disney? Is that Disney World over there?
First time, yeah.
Disneyland.
It was
Disneyland. I'm not a big Disney guy. Sorry.
It was pretty magical. Universal, I felt, was more my style on Sunday, so that was really cool.
Yeah.
I rode the Transformer ride, and I'm not a big Transformer guy, but there was a bunch of teenagers dressed in military fatigues running the ride. So as I got off, right before the end of the ride, Optimus Prime says to you, "You saved the city." And I kind of, you're doing this virtual reality thing, and I kind of nodded my head and looked at the people behind me like, yeah, I saved the city just now. And then I got off the ride, and I was so pumped, and this kid couldn't have been older than 19, and he's got his back turned to me. I tap him on the shoulder. And he turns around and looks at me, and I salute him. And he just looks at me and just shakes his head and gives me this look like, "I hate you, go away." But that was, I think that was my proudest moment of the weekend.
Yeah.
Saluting that 19-year-old kid who probably was like, "I just want my shift to end." At Universal Studios.
Why is this grown man saluting me for no reason?
Are you allowed to tell us about the guest list at all? If there was anybody notable, aside from who we saw in the with the groomsmen. Who were the bridesmaids, for crying out loud? Didn't see any pictures of them. Plenty of pictures of you
to know
guys.
Who the girls were.
Yeah, and did you get a +1, Greg? I didn't know these details.
I did have a +1, but I didn't bring a +1. But one of the bridesmaids, I can't remember her name, but one of them was the
Your
daughter.
name.
Oh well, she's the daughter of
How could she forget?
referee Marty Elias, which was really random.
Okay.
He worked
All
for
right.
WWE. I think he did the HBK Undertaker match, and now he works for Lucha Underground. So that was real random. And there was, I can't remember his last name, but he used to play for the Seattle Mariners. They call him Uncle Al. Candace and the family does because he's just around all the time. But he was literally 1984 Rookie of the Year in Major League Baseball, and he used to play with Ken Griffey Jr. He's in the MLB Hall of Fame, so he's a pretty legit guy.
Wow.
I got to meet him and
Al?
talk with him a little bit. Alvin something from the Mariners. Pretty cool dude.
Also Hall of Famer?
He's in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, so that was real. And that it actually wasn't the wedding. That was the reception the next day.
okay.
But yeah, it was. It was cool.
If you were able to go get married, would you do it at Disney?
No, absolutely not. I'm a cheapskate. No, cheapest wedding possible.
What is a Greg wedding? What does it entail?
Probably a lot of the things Johnny and Candace did, minus all the money spent.
Oh, okay.
So,
Like in a barn, probably somewhere.
saying, how much you love that other person and exchanging vows and rings and then kissing, but with a lot less money, like thousands of dollars less. Like if I can do it with like a C note, that'd be great.
I like that you interjected kissing like a horny teenager. There's gonna be so much kissing guys.
And making out.
It's gonna be amazing.
So
We're gonna touch tongues.
Kissing is free. That's the name of a future AIW podcast. Kissing is free. So yeah, like I said, I'm pumped to have you on and do interviews and do some shows and have another other guy who's going to be a part of the show as well. So I'm pumped to do that, and it's going to be an honor, man. It's going to be an honor to do shows with you, and you're already in the locker room anyway, so we could do some interviews with some guys. It's going to be weird interviewing some of the guys you actually work with, or
yeah, a little bit. It's weird how you say it's an honor, though. I mean, you're probably just saying that because I have a Wikipedia.
I mean,
not to brag or anything.
Did you make it yourself?
I didn't actually.
No,
I did. But the one thing that now I'm not on this podcast
you're gonna enter this into the Wikipedia?
Well, I don't edit my own Wikipedia.
I'll put it in for you.
That's very markish, as they say in the business.
I'll put it
Why
in
would I
for
do
you.
that? But the one thing I do want to do on this podcast, I've been doing this catchphrase that I want to get over.
Okay.
I don't think anyone's done it. At least no one of any relevance. So I've been trying to say. I do this thing with my fingers where I wiggle them a little bit, and then I say, "Give it up one time, Daddy." I also would like to get over the nickname G-Rock.
Oh my God.
ROCC. So if I could accomplish those two things in this podcast, because I'm sure there's no one with any talent or notoriety that's ever done anything like that, I would like to do it on this podcast.
Greg, I got to tell you, if it was my podcast, which it no longer is, I mean, I would welcome you to do that.
Never was.
Oh.
Wow.
If I was co-hosting with you, which I'm not.
R.I.P. Steve Guy.
That guy's never going to come on the show ever again.
Dead. You're dead to me, Steve.
No, he doesn't mean me. He means the guy you were
that guy,
referencing.
yeah.
The guy that you're mentioning.
Yeah, who?
Was a guest.
I'm not referencing anyone.
My goodness.
I was told last week in a tearful goodbye that I'm allowed to come back on the show sometimes.
Maybe.
All right. Yeah,
Sometimes.
I'm
I'm
cool.
in a good mood.
If I want to.
It has to be all three of us have to agree to do it. So
All three of us are your third person.
The third person.
negotiating
the third
person.
man. So
You
to
got
speak. Sorry. Could be Justin Summers.
Could be Eddie Kingston.
Definitely not. So another podcast that featured wrestlers, the with Ethan Page and Alexander and Joey. I mean, are you? Oh my God! Look at that skunk.
Wow.
That was a huge ass skunk.
I'm
that
sure it smells.
drove by.
Only
anyway.
if it sprays.
Yeah.
Only spray. Well, drove by. Yeah.
That
It
skunk
was
drove?
rocking down. It was cars were driving by it. Yeah.
Oh.
That was huge. Anyway, I think I'm the only one that saw it. But anyway, so are you
Yeah.
worried that
Get
you
ready
might
for
say
those.
some things that would make you not want to do a podcast anymore? Like those three guys that they don't want to be controversial or say anything. Are you worried about that, or are you going to watch your P's and Q's?
No, I mean I'm pretty good about those things. I'm a mildly intelligent guy. I'd like to think, definitely overly attractive, but this is not a visual thing. This is an audio thing.
It's really
so I
not.
think
Which is why I do podcasts.
Yeah, well, yeah, that works for you.
Thank you.
But I think I'll be okay. I think I'll be okay.
Are you going to bash CM Punk?
would never. He created the best moment of my life.
I'm saying we're gonna recap his UFC fight. Are you gonna?
No, I respect a lot of the stuff he did with the training and just getting in the octagon in general. I would never do that. There's, it's just like I'm not a football guy, and you always got these armchair quarterbacks who are like, oh, this guy should be doing this, and this, but like they've never done an athletic thing in their life. They'll never attempt to do an athletic thing in their life. So it's just like, it takes more guts to actually try anything. I don't care if it's athletic or not, whether it's a podcast or whatever, to try to be good and then fail and then get back up and do something else.
So you're not really a fan of like marks that are armchair quarterbacks for wrestling that say, "Oh, this guy should blah blah blah," or this. I mean, you're not.
People can have their opinions, but I would like them to, I don't know, have some knowledge behind what they're saying and understand that. I remember, going back 10 years ago when I started in wrestling. I remember my first match. Chandler, you'll know this guy, TTT, big freaky. I remember having my first match and I sucked. I didn't know what I was doing. And I'll never forget him walking up to me, just bashing my match after I had it, very first match, and telling me, "You just look like you didn't know what you're doing," and blah blah blah. And I just remember thinking, like, dude, you big freakazoid, come down to training, do what I do, try to do what I do, and then maybe you can talk crap. But it's like, it's not easy. Like people who watch the sport need to learn to enjoy it, and I think people who don't watch the sport should at least, I don't know, to an extent, at least respect what we do. I mean, it's not fake. That's the worst word ever. It's predetermined. It hurts, and it takes a lot of time. I've sacrificed my weekends for 10 years to be a decently successful pro wrestler and make a living at. So, like, for people, especially people who've never tried to chase or achieve their dreams, to tell me what I'm doing is stupid or to critique what I do, it's like, how about you try to do something yourself, and then maybe we could talk about criticism,
You're going to be good in this podcast, man. You're going to tell it the way it is.
That's what I do. I'm a little blunt.
See, I'm more the negative guy. Steve was always a positive guy, but it's going to be nice to have another tell the way it is guy.
The bitter, frustrated guy.
Yeah.
Great.
That's the way people like, people want to, people don't want, it's not always daisies and butterflies, Steve guy. Life is not always like that.
Hey, I'm not always trying to be daisies and butterflies.
Yeah,
Oddly enough, though, 2 negatives actually equal a positive. So,
well, the third guy is a positive, so he'll.
Oh, so there you'll still have the
balance
negative.
out,
I don't know. I just feel, I don't know. I guess be a little open on here. I've just been more negative and I don't want to say negative, but like frustrated. Like, we talked about Johnny's wedding, and I'm gonna go out and say it. Like, I'm really hurt and kind of frustrated that I'm not going to be a part of his last match on Friday, because I've known him for 10 years since I started. And, I mean, I like Candace, but he's only known her for 2. So, I mean, they're going to have this, they're going to have a match on Friday. That's cool, I guess. I wish, I've been with him for his best and his worst. And, I don't know, it's just kind of annoying that, like, I don't get that opportunity Friday.
Was that more Johnny's decision, or is that more this man over here? It's Johnny. So are you more upset with Johnny now?
I mean, I'll never hate Johnny, but I
thought you said you're going to hit him.
No, I mean,
never going to hit Johnny.
I don't know. I just feel like
you wanted that moment.
It's not even about like.
I mean, with him, not like you didn't want. I'm not saying you wanted that moment where it's like, yeah, I was that last person on anything. Like, you want it in your friendship that where you guys, because we've talked about it on this show before when you were on, and when we had you on as a guest. You wanted that special moment and bond for you two, for nobody else but the two of you.
And I don't know. I now I just feel repetitive. I shouldn't even brought it up. It's frustrating, and I don't know. I always felt like Johnny was like a brother to me, so like maybe it's not the same for him, or like maybe over the last year this WWE thing's kind of changed him or helped him lose sight of what's important. But like I really wish I was in that match Friday night.
Bros over hoes.
Well, yeah, I guess.
I mean, Ken's not a hoe, but
no,
but serious. But bros, I mean,
it's just it's 2 years, 10 years. I don't know.
You guys are going to be great for each other, working out things that are on your mind on this show. Can't wait to tune in. We have a guest in studio whose Twitter handle is White Oprah. So
Wow. That's racist.
I mean, I think that every time I see it, but
Yeah.
you know, she is probably taking a lot of notes down right now. I feel like maybe we're on one of her episodes or something.
Is there someone with a Twitter handle Latin Dr. Phil?
There is not.
Okay.
She came from Ashland for the show. All the way from Ashland. She drove here for the
Wow.
show. That's
Yeah.
dedication
That
to
is
this podcast.
dedication.
You know about loyal fans. This podcast has some.
Dedication
So-
or stupidity?
I think more stupidity, but we appreciate you coming out. So, Greg, anything you want to say to loyal This Is Awesome Wrestling Show fans before we wrap this live show up?
Yeah, what to expect from
What do
Greg
I expect?
Iron.
What can I expect as your co-host?
I don't know. I guess we kind of got a sneak preview. I can be a little funny. I can be a little serious. I'm an open book. I'll talk about anything. I've never been secretive about anything as far as my wrestling opinions or personal life. My mom died of a drug overdose. Hey, that's real random, right? She's dead. Rest in hell, Mom. Whoa, getting real. See, back to that Christopher Titus stuff. See, it's.
But you know it's a wrestling podcast, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, sometimes it's okay to interject a little bit of real life. You know what I'm saying?
We don't even get that real on the card is going to change.
Hey.
Not at all.
I have an announcement.
Oh,
Steve Guy and I are starting the This Is Amazing Wrestling.
Cool. Are you going to record it in your bathroom with an iPad?
No, we're recording it in ToledoSound.com.
Well, good luck to you.
Akron Canton Sound.
There it is. There it is. All right.
Hobo Joe. Hobo Joe will be our third co-host.
Sounds good.
Greg Iron's former tag team partner.
Hobo Joe.
Well, hopefully,
died
don't leave
years
Steve
ago.
Guy in charge of sponsorship because he
Hobo
won't get
Joe
any.
did die.
So.
We got George Foreman Grills on the horn.
Yeah.
And it's the SummerSlam.
Oh, okay, sweet.
Wow.
All right, Greg. Like I said, I'm pumped to have you on the part of the show. I'm sure our listeners are going to be pumped, and looking forward to our first show next week here in studio and talking some wrestling, anything pertaining from WWE to independent. So we're going to be talking a lot in the next few weeks and with interviews and whatnot. So I'm pumped, man.
Whoop whoop.
That's all you got? Whoop whoop.
That's all I
that's
got.
a
I'll
sweet
leave you guys
sign-off.
with this.
Oh boy.
You know, I made a joke about my mom being in hell a few minutes ago,
Yeah.
and I was reading online that having a morbid sense of humor oftentimes means that you have an early sign of dementia. And with that, thanks for having me on the This Is Awesome podcast.
Wrestling show. Get it right.
Wrestling show.
You're going to be a co-host on a show you didn't even know the title.
You can't say podcast?
We're not a podcast. We're a show.
That is podcast has a
Bad stigma.
bad stigma.
If a random guy interview like, hey, want to be on my podcast or show, which one would you prefer?
Oh, I'm instantly like, ooh,
Yeah,
I don't even
exactly.
like I get that Facebook message and I don't want to open it because they know they'll see that I've read it. So
Podcast
it's like,
interview.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
oh boy.
To be on my on-demand audio show.
I like that.
You just say
That's
show.
good salesmanship
That's
right
what
there,
you say,
Chandler
yeah.
Pickens.
That's
like
what you
that.
say. All right. So we're going to wrap it up here. This has been our live episode 100 here in Lakewood, Ohio, in this studio, actual studio. Want to thank Dr. Daniel C. Rockingham, Frankie Flynn. Thank you to Steve Guy for all his
Thank you.
all his work on the show. I don't want to say hard work, but for his
Thank-
work
Thank you, Glenn
on the
Moore.
shore. Justin Summers, thank
Justin, you
for
want to say
coming.
something?
Thank you. Sure. There you go.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. That was beautiful, Justin. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, coming out, especially from Ashland, Ohio. I don't know why you did, but we appreciate it. And we'll talk to you guys next week with the new era of the This Is Awesome Wrestling Show for episode 101.
Hey,
No, don't end the show. What?
I just want to give my last shout out because I thought about it to the only people to ever win a This Is Awesome Wrestling Show contest. NetGea on Twitter.
Yeah.
And Jingle Toes, who we took to NXT.
Well, Chris in Toronto.
Oh, that's right. And Chris in Toronto for winning our
Daniel Bryan
book.
And we're hoping to have Daniel Bryan on next week. So we'll talk to you guys then. See you later.